If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That was a Barclays foreign exchange trader typing into a Bloomberg chat room he named the cartel. The actual word cartel typed into a system that archived every message permanently. 5 banks, 6 years, 1.07 billion euros in fines. And every word of evidence saved by the people who wrote it. I break down Europe's biggest corporate fines every week. Subscribe if you want to understand how billion-euro punishments actually work. Nobody was paying attention to the foreign exchange market in 2007. $5.3 trillion moved through it every single day, which made it the largest financial market on Earth. Euros into pounds, dollars into yen, Swiss francs into Norwegian kroner. Every currency conversion on the planet ran through a handful of trading desks in London's financial district. Too liquid to rig, too global to coordinate, too big for a handful of traders to push in any direction. That was the assumption. But the assumption missed something fundamental about how the market actually priced itself. Every afternoon at 4 p.m. London time, a single 60-second window determined the benchmark exchange rate for the entire planet. 30 seconds before 4, 30 seconds after. The median price during that window became the Reuters fix, used by fund managers to value $3.6 trillion in index fund assets. Pension funds relied on it to price retirement portfolios. Corporations settled cross-border invoices against it. Asset managers benchmarked entire portfolios to it. But the 60-second window had a vulnerability nobody at Reuters was watching for. If enough volume hit the market in the same direction during those 60 seconds, the benchmark moved. And if you knew which direction that volume was coming from before it arrived, you could position yourself ahead of time and profit from the movement you helped create. 5 traders figured this out. Not independently, together. Richard Usher, head of spot foreign exchange trading at RBS. Rohan Ramchandani, head of G10 spot trading at Citigroup. Christopher Ashton, head of spot foreign exchange at Barclays. These were not junior analysts experimenting at the margins. These were the people running the largest currency desks in Europe, responsible for billions in daily client transactions. They created a private chat room on Bloomberg Instant Messenger in December 2007 and called it Three-Way Banana Split. They logged in every morning before the London Open, they stayed connected all day, and they shared everything their employers promised clients would remain confidential. Client orders, position sizes, trading plans. The exact amount a pension fund needed to convert at the fix. The direction a hedge fund was moving. Information that banks swear under contract to protect passed between direct competitors like weekend football scores. But the chat room went beyond simple information sharing. It had rules. Unwritten, but understood by every member. You coordinated what you traded. You did not interfere with another trader's position during the fix window. They called that practice standing down. One trader builds a large position before 4 p.m., the others stay out of the way. The fix moves in his direction, he profits. Tomorrow, someone else gets their turn. Like a rotation schedule for stealing from pension funds. A second chat room opened in December 2009, Essex Express N the Jimmy. Named because every trader except James lived in Essex and caught the same commuter train to London each morning. Barclays, RBS, UBS and MUFG Bank shared this one. Same banks, same rules, same coordinated trading, different chat window. A third group called themselves semi-grumpy old men. They ran parallel operations from 2009 to 2012. Like a group project where everyone agreed to cheat on the same exam, in the same room, using the same answers for 6 consecutive years. And then saved every answer sheet in a filing cabinet, labeled with their real names. The manipulation worked like this. Before the 4 p.m. window, a trader would type his client's pending order into the chat room. 300 million euros to sell at the fix. Everyone reads it. Everyone knows concentrated selling is about to push the euro lower. But instead of competing for the best execution on behalf of their clients, they cooperated against them. They built positions ahead of time, buying cheap before the selling wave hit. Then during the 60 seconds, they executed together. Massive volume, same direction, the benchmark moves, their positions profit. The pension fund gets a worse rate and never knows why. Never sees the chat room, never learns that 5 traders over breakfast decided its retirement money was worth slightly less today. They called building positions ahead of time building ammo. They called the coordinated execution banging the close. One JP Morgan trader typed a warning into the chat room that would later become exhibit evidence. Probably shouldn't put this on perma chat. He typed it into the permanent chat. Nobody listened, nobody deleted anything, nobody left the group. The arrangement worked for 6 years without detection, but one morning in June 2013, Bloomberg News published a headline that landed on every trading floor in London simultaneously. Traders said to rig. Currency rates to profit off clients. Journalists had pieced together what compliance departments at 6 major banks somehow missed for half a decade. The chat rooms existed, the coordination was documented, the fix was rigged. Within days, the Financial Times and Reuters confirmed the reporting with additional sources and additional chatroom names. The story that was too big to rig turned out to be too well documented to deny. Within weeks, regulators worldwide launched investigations. The UK Financial Conduct Authority, the US Department of Justice, the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority. But here is where the cooperation math gets interesting. At UBS headquarters in Zurich, someone made the most consequential phone call in the history of European competition enforcement. UBS wanted immunity. Under the Commission's leniency program, the first company to confess receives full protection from fines, second gets up to 50% off, third gets 30%. Everyone else pays closer to full price. UBS called first. They handed over 6 years of chat logs, internal audit records, trader names, the exact dates and mechanics of every coordinated trade. In exchange, they avoided approximately 94 million euros in penalties. The other banks scrambled for whatever discount remained. But the gap between first and last was enormous. Citigroup cooperated last among the settling banks and paid 310.8 million euros, the largest single fine. UBS cooperated first and paid nothing. Same cartel, same duration, same illegal behavior. But one bank picked up the phone 3 months earlier and saved enough money to fund a small country's annual education budget. The spread between snitching early and snitching late was 310 million euros. On May 16, 2019, Commissioner Margrethe Vestager stood at the podium in Brussels and announced settlement decisions totaling 1.07 billion euros against 5 banks. Companies and people depend on banks to exchange money to carry out transactions in foreign countries, she told the assembled press. These cartel decisions send a clear message that the Commission will not tolerate collusive behavior in any sector of the financial markets. RBS responded by calling the conduct a reminder of how badly the bank lost its way. Our culture and controls have changed fundamentally during the past 10 years, their spokesperson added. The culture that named its illegal operation the cartel had apparently undergone a complete transformation in the decade since anyone was watching. But the 2019 decision covered only 2 chat rooms. In December 2021, the Commission fined 5 banks an additional 344 million euros for a third group called Sterling Lads. Same manipulation method, same time period, different currency pairs focused on the British pound. HSBC paid 174.3 million, the largest fine in that round. Barclays paid again. RBS paid again. Credit Suisse refused to settle and got fined 83.2 million under the ordinary procedure. In July 2025, the General Court reduced that fine to 28.9 million on appeal. But total European Commission penalties across all 3 chat rooms still reached 1.4 billion euros. The banks paid billions, but the traders who typed the messages walked free. Richard Usher, Rohan Ramchandani, and Christopher Ashton were indicted by the US Department of Justice and traveled voluntarily to New York for trial, facing up to 10 years in prison. The jury deliberated less than 5 hours before returning acquittals for all 3. The institutions paid 1.4 billion in Europe, 5.7 billion in America, 2.3 billion in civil settlements. The worldwide bill exceeded $10 billion. But the individuals who created the chat rooms, who typed the client orders, who coordinated the trades, who wrote "if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying" into a permanent record. Not one of them spent a single night in a cell. As of 2025, collective damages actions remain active in the UK Competition Appeal Tribunal. Pension funds and asset managers who received manipulated exchange rates for 6 years are still waiting for compensation. The manation about get ourselves. The Global FX Code of Conduct now governs trading behavior worldwide. Mandatory communication monitoring is standard at every major bank. The 60-second fix window still exists. But nobody names their chat room the cartel anymore. They named it the cartel. They named another one the Bandits Club. They typed, "Probably shouldn't put this on permachat," into a system that archived every word permanently. And for 6 years, the only thing that worked perfectly was the filing system that recorded their own prosecution. Next week, Intel paid computer manufacturers to ignore rival chips.
The EU charged €376 million for a rebate scheme that triggered a 17-year legal battle across two continents.